what's the advice that the two of you, between you probably have more than 70 years of pastoral experience. What do you want to tell him? What's the advice you would give to young Peter here about how he should shepherd the flock?
Peter left out a lot of fun, juicy tidbits in his story, because I was privileged to be able to be in dialogue with Peter in the discernment process, and so I've shared a lot of insights with Peter along the way, and even getting to this decision, and I continue to do so. And one of the great joys about being here this morning is the pastoral succession that I see at this table, and being in the middle of it.
Sure.
And if the spirit of Frank Kick could be here, he'd be the fourth.
Yeah, that's right.
Frank was the pastor on Long Island.
Rick's mentor.
It took Rick in. You were, how old were you, Rick?
15.
15 years old, and Rick became the errand boy for Frank, and did that for a lot of years. That was the necessity that was laid upon him in learning.
It's like the story that's
serve.
told about James Montgomery Boyce, that
Sure.
who was Boyce's predecessor?
Barnhouse.
Barnhouse, right. Barnhouse chose him
When his mother
when he was in his
brought him on the wrong day for the Christmas party
Right.
at 10th Church.
right,
Yeah,
5 or 6 years old, something like
Essentially
that. and said,
ordained him
Yeah,
that day.
you
Yeah, he
shall
laid his
be the
hands on him
future
and prayed
pastor
for him.
of this
Yeah.
church, and lo and behold, he did.
Yeah.
So you have Frank Kick investing in Rick, and Rick investing in me, and I'm investing in Peter. And if we were to extend it out, maybe not in pastoral, but it's certainly in discipleship, Peter's investing in Connor at Beverly Heights.
Yeah, and that is how the faith progresses.
Yeah, and you see that you see that succession happening over time, and I delight in that. I think
Sure.
that's wonderful. It's
fantastic.
And I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
Would that there would be more Frank Kicks and down the line. But one of the things I would say to Peter is pastoral ministry takes time. It was a long, slow obedience in the same direction, which is phraseology I got from Rick, who got that from Eugene Peterson,
Sure.
who has been a part of this conversation as well. In the world, because pastors are different, they see the world different. We're like other people because we're human and we're broken and there's sin, but we're different. We're set apart by grace, by God, by call. The calling is different, and the way you have to be prepared for it is different. And that preparation takes time, which is so countervailing to the dominant cultural sensibilities. Everything now is instant. Becoming a pastor is a lot more like the trades than it is like other vocational positions or understandings. In many ways, my seminary education was literally, I was at the tail end of it when I came to Beverly Heights. I came and I did an internship and I graduated, but my time at Beverly Heights was in many ways just the beginning of the training.
Right.
A year as an intern, a couple years as the unordained assistant pastor, and then 10 years as the associate pastor. There was a large block of time of just training. And it's not the training that it's hard, it's everybody else who's scratching their head saying, why aren't you matriculating? Why aren't you progressing faster? A lot of different things that go into being the church and being the pastor of the church, and you can't come by that stuff quickly. You have to take it slow. You have to suck up everything you can learn and watch closely, be diligent, spend time. One of the things that I've shared before, and one of the great privileges that I had working with Rick, at a table with someone who's a master at his craft, to bump elbows with a master. They're there, they're doing the job, and they let you sit next to them, plop down like these two, and just say, watch, what are you doing? How does that work? What's that tool? I've never seen that before. How does that fit in there? How do you manage all those things? That would be the thing that I would encourage Peter with, which is to stay with it. Not that I ever had any doubts. Stay with it at the 8th year and the 9th year. or the 12th year, to stay with it till it's done. And it might have taken me 15 years because I'm so dim-witted and slow, and maybe you can shave a few years off.
But what's the hardest thing, Nate, about being now the senior pastor, the man officially at fault? What's been the hardest thing? Do you have any problem with the officially at fault
No.
lingo that Rick
Well, we say it
offers?
We say it lovingly to each other. It's actually
Yeah.
a love language.
Right.
It's the way pastors love each other, and it comes with the territory. If you're not
Right.
ready to be officially at fault, then you probably shouldn't be there. I think the thing that's the hardest is people leave. That's not new to this moment or my ministry. Rick has already indicated that people leave churches. Every person that has left, I feel that. I feel their departure. It's not an incidental thing there. There's a hole. And I feel that. I think as the pastor, I'm supposed to feel that. Maybe surprise to some in the church, some who don't spend time inside the pastor's study, to recognize or to know, to be informed that we feel it. I think we felt it. I think Rick would agree that it's felt. But to feel that much that quickly has been a lot to feel.
And it's hard not to feel defensive on some level about it.
Well, sure,
and to react that way.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to give voice to my feeling defensive. I feel
but
my heart is broken for that.
yeah.
I'm brokenhearted when people leave. And there's part of me that wants to be able to explain to them things that I can't explain to them, or try to help them to see things that they, perhaps they haven't seen. Most of the time, people, there's a new expression now that has come up through instant messaging on smartphones. When you don't reply to somebody on a text message, they call that ghosting. You'll have to check my millennial linguistics on this. Is that correct? You ghost somebody?
Yeah, I don't know if it's new, but yes.
It's newer to me. I was given an article by somebody on the staff who talked about the pain that comes with being ghosted as a pastor. People just don't show up anymore. You don't know why.
And one of the things that's unique about the ministry, I think, is it has very much an introspective component, when you're writing, when you're thinking, when you're crafting what you're going to say. But then there's a very, very much a public component. You're the face of the church. You're in the pulpit. You're before everyone. And it would be, I would think, very hard not to feel deeply, the very thing you're talking about. That people ghost you. They somehow remove themselves from your sphere of influence, and you're the guy. You're in the pulpit. You are the face of Beverly Heights at 8:30 and 11 a.m. every Sunday.
I would agree with Nate's really eloquent description of that. It just hurts.
Yeah.
It makes you feel a failure.
Diminished.
Yeah. You are the subject of anger, whether it's expressed or not. Sometimes that gets expressed before they actually leave. People with who disagree with you or whatever, and you think, well, they're on their way out. They'll walk up to receive the elements representing the body and blood of Christ at communion. And they'll move from the line that you're serving to a line so that they don't have to be served by you. There is just...
That's happened to you too, huh?
Yeah, there is just...
Oh, yeah.
there
Wasn't
is
aware
just-
of that.
There's just so much...
That sucks.
Yes, there's just so much wrong with that.
Well,
with
yeah,
that.
and how
And
you-
we're not supposed to get angry.
Yeah, I know,
because
and how
we-
could you not?
Yeah.
How could you not?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, I'm not as evolved as you guys are. I wouldn't want to take somebody like that out.
Yeah. But in answer to your question, I think the biggest challenge is that the pastor has to be a follower of Christ. So you're looking this way, and a leader of others, the church, so you're looking back this way.
Yeah.
And then you have to be a walker with people in the congregation.
Right.
So a follower, a leader, a walker. And this is all happening on the moving walkway out at the airport. You know, it's just everything is all this activity is not on this solid ground. The ground underneath you is moving as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot to keep up with.